Overall, it was kind of a slow trading week, but we did have a nice short trade on gold from the daily market breakdown videos. With that being said, let's get into this week's Forex forecast. Starting the forecast off with the weekly chart of the DXY, top-down approach here. Remember, we do not have any weekly trend. We are just going sideways here. It would be nice to either break below the low or the high up here to really indicate whether we're going up or whether we are going down. So in the meantime, we're just kind of going sideways, and it is definitely tricky to tell where the dollar is going overall. Now, based off of this daily trend to the downside, it's clear that we are going lower. I wish we had a weekly trend to the downside as well, but we pretty much have to go with this daily downtrend. Now, there was a beautiful drop-based drop, daily supply at 104.01. Now, the big question in the last couple of weeks is where are we going to pull up here? We pushed up to about 103.6, couldn't quite get that extra push up to the daily supply. It is definitely still possible we do push back up to this supply. However, on the last daily candle here, really bearishness here to the downside. So to me, it's looking like we are going to go down. On the 4-hour chart, we have 4-hour downtrends. In my opinion, if we break this low here on this 4-hour time frame, that would really indicate that the trend is even stronger. We'll have a new trend line here, and the nice 4-hour downtrend will definitely indicate that we are going to continue to go down and that we won't be pulling back up to that daily supply. But again, if we do turn around, look at this daily chart again, let's say we do start to create a 1-hour trend to the upside or a 4-hour trend to the upside, it doesn't mean we're bullish, right? We could be bullish for this period of time, but overall the trend is down. So we certainly want to remember that, if we do start to pull up, don't just think that the dollar is super strong and we're going to be going up. Zoom out. Like if you're on a 1-hour chart or a 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart, zoom out to the daily. When we push up to this supply, it's most likely we will probably react to the downside off of that daily supply zone. So overall, for the dollar, I am bearish long-term and short-term due to this red candle on the daily chart. But even, like I said, even if we do start to see some bullishness, I think it just means we're pulling back up to daily supply, where then we will react to the downside. On to the forecast for the Euro US dollar. Weekly chart we will start off with as well. We are really pushing up. We are close to this high here. If we do, that will give us a nice weekly trend to kind of really cement in the fact that we're going to be going up. Now, I am bullish the euro anyways. Here's why. We have a beautiful picture-perfect daily trend to the upside. We have higher highs being formed. We have supply zones being taken out. We have demand zones being formed all the way at 1.09. There's a decent little drop-based rally daily demand zone. It was looking like we were going to pull back into it, and turns out we are not. However, if we do turn around, again, just like I said on the dollar, but the opposite. If we do start to see some weakness in the euro, yes, the last day was very green. But if we do see a pullback, I wouldn't be bearish to the euro until we can get a move like this. If we get a move like this where we not only break demand, but we break the upward trend line, then at that point, okay, I have to admit I was wrong on the bullishness for the euro. But until then, even if we pull back down to 1.09, I am bullish, and I actually welcome a pullback down to that daily demand zone on the euro US dollar. So how do we go about trading that? Well, you could wait for a pullback down to that daily demand and look for longs on some sort of confirmation trade. That would be fine. But in the meantime, all I'm really seeing is a beautiful 4-hour trend as well. So pullbacks up with this trend on a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame could be good. So basically what you are doing is you are realizing that we have a 4-hour trend to the upside, and as long as this trend line is being respected, we can go ahead and extend it here. As long as it's being respected and it's holding, we could be day trading long. Now, there is that 4-hour zone all the way down at the bottom there, but that's below the daily zone, so we're pretty much going to ignore that at this point. So we pretty much have to go with what we have, which is a 4-hour trend to the upside. So again, day trading longs all the way here on the euro US dollar, and even if we break this 4-hour trend, that's fine. Then we just wait for the daily demand to be hit, and then we continue to look for longs once that daily demand zone is hit. But again, 4-hour trends are being respected here. It's longs all the way, especially if you're a day trader. Alrighty, on to the forecast for gold. Nothing but strength here in gold. We have beautiful trends to the upside from a weekly top-down approach. Beautiful weekly trend. The big question when we're going sideways here is, would we be pulling back down to 22.24 down to this weekly zone? And I mean, with the past month's price action, it's clear we are not. I mean, it's definitely still possible we do, but I'm seeing zero evidence to suggest we would be pulling back down to that weekly zone. So it's longs all the way here on gold, 100%. On the daily chart, we were kind of ranging out here. You can see the power of supply and demand, right? Supply, demand being respected, ping-ponging between the both. Now we pushed up, created all-time highs again on gold. So if we get another candle close here, we will have some sort of daily zone formed here, and that will be on my chart that the members get from my chart link. And we'll have that daily zone, which would be a great little area to look for longs at as well. Very similar to what we are seeing on the euro right now. We could have a daily zone being formed here as the base and candles are looking good. We are getting that move away, but we still need some more evidence to suggest there is demand down there. But again, throughout the week, if we do continue to push up, I will have a zone down there for the members on the charts. Now on the 1 hour chart, we actually caught a beautiful little 1 hour supply zone trade. Now this was pretty counter trend, right? You can see we had a proven demand zone back here, broken, which left us with a supply zone right here. We got a beautiful pullback entry there, a quick one, but that's what we do when we are trading counter trend. That's what I teach my students. If you guys want access to the daily market breakdowns where we caught a trade like that, check out the Diamond membership. Links in the description down below. We have private Discord group, private video lessons, Sunday Zoom sessions where we discuss strategy and how to actually trade supply and demand, and much more. Links in the description down below. Be happy to see all serious traders join the team. We also have lifetime access available. So that was the counter trend trade. And we quickly, that's why it's nice to always take profit early, at least at the lows, and bump your stop loss into the green. And we pushed up, broke that supply, which gave us demand down below. But I'm actually focusing here on the 4 hour chart. I really like what I'm seeing in the 4 hour chart. We have beautiful trend to the upside on the 4 hour time frame. We have a nice little 4 hour demand at 24.66. So what we could be doing on gold right now, look at this 4 hour trend. As long as this trend line is being respected, guys, even if we pull back here, as long as it's being respected, 15-minute time frame longs and also 5-minute time frame longs are definitely okay to do. Now, if we do pull back down to this rally-based rally 4 hour demand at 24.66, I think it's a great area to look for a potential pullback entry. I love this zone. It was responsible for not only removing supply, but making an all-time high as well. You can see we have a beautiful move away from the zone. Nice tight basing there. I'm not a fan of all this, so it's not an incredible zone, but it is definitely good. Very nice move away from the zone. I think it's a great opportunity to get a pullback entry down at that 4 hour demand zone. If you don't want to wait for that demand to be hit, that's fine. You could be continuing to look for longs on a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame due to the nature of the trends. And this could be a massive pullback, right, on gold. Like, I would really love a pullback down to the weekly zone. Doesn't look like we're going to get that. So we pretty much have to go with what we have, and what I'm seeing right now on all 4 time frames: weekly uptrend, daily uptrend, 4 hour uptrend, 1 hour uptrend. There's trends on even the lower time frames as well. So it's longs all the way on the day trading time frames. And even if we do get a pullback down to that 4 hour zone, I think it's a great pullback entry on gold. Alrighty, on to the forecast for the USDJPY. This has definitely been a tricky one to trade, as we had a weekly uptrend that was looking really good, but the last couple weeks we just blasted through demand zone after demand zone. We did create a weekly supply all the way up at 156.07. I just want to point out the possibility of a pullback to this supply zone and reaction off of it, but obviously that will take probably months to take place. This move over the past month, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of candles, very, very rare. You can see we're just chugging along here. Boom, what a massive drop. So if we do get a pullback up to that supply, it will take time, in my opinion. But I am definitely bearish now, as we have broken that weekly trend to the upside. Things are a little bit more clear here on the daily chart. We have a daily supply zone that is currently in control at 148.51. And you can see the past day we have clearly reacted off of this supply. Would I say that this supply zone is holding? I would say that. Would I say that we got a nice trade off of it? Not yet. And even if we do break up to the upside, we have another drop-based drop supply zone at 152.70. So even if we do pull up back to here, I still think that both of these supply zones are good for short trades, in my opinion. So with this daily supply in control, we could be looking for shorts using a confirmation entry model. And I'll show you exactly what that's going to look like here. You can see on the 1 hour chart, we clearly have momentum to the upside. We had a 1 hour supply back here. It was a proven supply zone that we got a nice reaction off of. And then all of a sudden, boom, a nice demand zone formed at 147. Beautiful picture perfect demand zone. Nice move up. It's a very obvious area though. Where a lot of traders are going to be seeing this area. So I will say, if you are bullish the yen, which I'm not, especially with that weekly trend that just being broken, the fact that a daily supply zone, is in control now, I am not too bullish. I will definitely say that as far as the yen goes. But if you are, I would only be looking for longs on at this 1 hour demand zone at 147.53. Now, I'm not even saying that that's the highest odds thing to do. I actually do not think it is. But I'm just saying, if you are bullish, this is the only area I would think would be good for longs, in my opinion. Now for shorts, which again, the daily supply became in control up here, we want to be looking for shorts, especially since momentum is to the downside. Shorts are definitely going to be good. So our confirmation entry model is going to look something like this, where hopefully we get some sort of reaction off of it, trap maybe the support and resistance traders, and then a break of this demand zone at 147, 118. Once that demand zone is broken, like that, boom, any 1 hour supply zone there could be treated as our confirmation zone, and we can look for a short trade off of that, off of this chart. And remember, for the members, I will have all these zones on the chart. So if we do break this 1 hour zone and we have a beautiful 1 hour supply zone that we could be looking to trade, I will have that zone on my chart analysis that all the members get. So that is what I'll be looking for here on the USD yen. Again, look at the higher time frames. Things could be looking bullish here, right? Things look actually really bullish when you look at this 1 hour time frame. Look, momentum's clearly to the upside. This looks like a good little pullback entry. And look, it could work. I definitely think it could work. However, when we use our multiple higher time frame analysis, it really shows a different story, which clearly shows momentum is down and the supply zone is in control. The bullishness you are seeing is basically just from here all the way up to here. This small move compared to this big overall move, right? That is why higher time frame, multiple time frame analysis is key, guys. I cannot stress that enough. So the daily supply is in control. We certainly want to be looking for shorts here. In the USDN, we just definitely need to see some sort of confirmation formed and some sort of good little 1 hour supply zone that we could look to short. If you are enjoying this video so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. All ad revenue generated from these weekly Forex Forecast videos is donated to my local hospice charity. So every like, every share, and every subscribe helps, guys. Much appreciated. So as far as the pound goes here, we have a beautiful weekly trend to the upside, which is, we don't have that in a lot of the other pairs. So that's something that it really has going for it here in the pound. However, on the daily chart, we actually broke the daily uptrend. But it looks like it was some sort of fake out to the upside, stopped out maybe the trend line traders. It was looking like we would pull back down to 1.259, which I really was looking forward to. Doesn't look like we're getting that now. It looks like we're just headed up, probably going to create a daily uptrend again. But look, since we have a weekly trend on the pound, I think it's longs all the way. As far as trading it goes, though, it is a little bit tricky. On the 4 hour chart, we do have a 4 hour demand zone all the way down here. And unfortunately, that's the closest one that we really have, all the way down at the 1.27 area. That's really about it. We do have a 4 hour trend to the upside. It's aggressive, but it is a trend to the upside. In my opinion, it's not the best trend I've ever seen, but it is a 4 hour trend. It's more visible here on the 1 hour chart. So what you could be doing on this chart, as long as this 1 hour trend line is holding, we could be looking for longs on a 5-minute chart, and even a 15-minute time frame too, I think is fair. Basically trading with this 1 hour trend with the idea that the weekly trend is also up, and there is a 1 hour supply zone from all the way back here. It's not too relevant, but this is the chain analysis that I do. If we do push up to this supply zone, if we break it, let's say we have a 1 hour zone here, I'll have that on the chart for the members, and we can look for longs off of that zone there. So until that takes place, I'm just not seeing any good 1 hour zones here that I feel comfortable drawing for you guys. So in the meantime, it's longs all the way, but just on a day trading time frame until we can actually remove that 1 hour supply, if we can push up to there. But again, look at yes, we don't have a daily trend. There's no daily trend, but when we looked at the weekly chart, we have a beautiful weekly trend. Momentum trend is up in the 4 hour and the 1 hour chart. So I personally think this is a good one to be looking for day trades in only right now on the 50-minute and the 5-minute time frame. And then, like I said, once we start to remove some 4 hour and 1 hour supply zones, we will have more 4 hour and 1 hour zones that we could be looking for longs off of here on the GBPUSD. On to the forecast for the USDCAD. We're going to look at the weekly chart here. Not much to see. All I see is a bunch of sideways mess. Not looking too great as far as the weekly chart goes. On the daily chart, though, we do have a daily trend to the upside, but to me, it looks like it was kind of just a fake out to the upside. And honestly, things are looking really weak right now. I don't really like the idea of looking for longs. 4 hour momentum is certainly down. What I like is on this 1 hour chart, we have a very clear downward trend at this point. You know, we have demand zones being broken, supply zones being formed. So if we do get a pullback up to this base drop 1 hour supply at 1.37, I think it's a decent area to look for a potential swing trade / day trade short off of that 1 hour supply zone. So that's really all I'm seeing right now in the USD CAD as far as a 1 hour zone goes. You could be on a 15-minute, or sorry, you could be on a 5-minute time frame looking for shorts as well, as long as this supply zone is being respected. If we break above this supply zone, then at that point I would hold off. But look, at any point, if there's a nice 5-minute supply zone formed here, or however you like to trade, I think it's shorts all the way, especially on the 5-minute time frame. And again, this is a nice little drop base drop supply zone, beautiful move down, broke a proven demand zone. So I think it's a great area to continue to look for shorts off of if we do pull back into that zone. Now on the 4-hour chart, we did have this zone from all the way back here I've been kind of waiting for at 1.357. This is it's kind of it's a far ride away from here, but if we do pull back down to this zone at 1.357, it's not a bad area to look for maybe a quick 2-to-1, 1-to-1. That's what I'm going to be looking for if we do pull back into that. It's a risky setup, guys. Not something I would risk a full 1% on. It's just something that, you know, I'm kind of trying out right now. Kind of a support and resistance trap area. And you guys, if you've been following my forecast for a while, I pointed this one out a long time ago. Been really waiting patiently for it. I think it's a great target if you are short to maybe look to take profit. Because honestly, I think the USDCAD is going to continue to fall, and I think this is where it'll probably hesitate to turn around. There is a 4-hour zone down at 1.36. I think we could hesitate there, but ultimately I think this is the better zone that we could see a larger move off of. But overall, I think we're going to go down. This would be more of, you know, catching that falling knife, which a lot of people don't recommend, but I think it could just be a good little quick 2-to-1, 1-to-1 counter trade setup there on the USDCAD. And again, the 1-hour supply zone is good for shorts, but shorts all the way, in my opinion. It's just, I like to point out kind of both sides, even if it's just a quick little counter trend trade, just like that trade on gold that I pointed out earlier that we took in the daily market breakdown video. On to the forecast for the AUDUSD. You can see we clearly moved from demand to supply. We did get that massive move down here, which is kind of a fake out. But even after that, I was telling members we can pretty much ignore this big fake out that was basically news driven, and we could continue to look for longs up to this supply. And we got a beautiful move up to the supply. And, you know, the move is pretty much over at this point. I personally think we will be continuing to go up. However, since this is a supply zone I have in my chart, I kind of think we will start to react to the downside a bit. However, I do personally think we will be pushing up and breaking that supply zone, in my opinion. So once we break this daily supply, if we do, we should have some sort of daily demand down here, and we can look for longs off of that daily zone there on the Aussie. In the meantime, how do we trade this one? Well, on the 1-hour chart, we have beautiful trend to the upside. We can pretty much draw our trend line like this. I usually don't cut through candles, but I am going to do it in this instance. I'm not going to explain why, but we do have a 1-hour trend line here. Now, as long as this 1-hour trend line is holding, it's 5-minute time frame longs all the way. So as long as the trend line is holding, be looking for longs on a 5-minute time frame. I think it's definitely fine. You could even be doing it on a 1-minute time frame as well. Now, as far as the 4-hour chart goes, there's really no 4-hour zones here based on my overall, you know, my chain analysis that I do. So what we want to be looking for here is something like this. We have a drop base drop supply zone at 0.668. We could see some sort of small move off of there, but if we break that zone like this, any 4-hour zone there would be a beautiful area to look for potential longs at. And I will have this on the charts for the members, but until then, I would stick to day trading longs because we don't have any 4-hour zones here. Are there rally-based rallies to look for longs off of? Sure, but in how I do things is my chain analysis. It's, you know, my bread and butter, and that's what I rely on. So until this supply zone is taken out, I would just be focusing on the day trading longs. And then again, once that supply zone is removed, if it is, then we could continue to look for longs. And what I'm really hoping, going back to the daily chart, is we do get a nice push up here. Actually, I'm hoping we base out for a couple days here and then rally out, giving us a nice zone right here. That would be a beautiful area for a swing trade to push and break up the highs. That's what I'm really hoping for. Will we get it? I don't know. I don't like to kind of predict things like that. I just need to wait for it to happen, right? We wait for this supply zone to be removed. Is there a demand zone here? I don't force draw demand zones. If there is, perfect. Then we'll have a nice daily zone that we could look for longs off of. But in the meantime, guys, I would just be focusing on this 1-hour trend to the upside and be looking for longs on the day trading timeframes. On to the forecast for the USDCHF. This one's looking very, very similar to the USDJPY. Why? Well, because we have a beautiful daily downtrend and we have a beautiful daily supply. That's a nice drop-based drop that is in control at 0.87. So we should be looking for shorts here, in my opinion. Why I think it's possible we do keep going higher just a little bit is because we do have a weekly supply that is obviously more stronger than a daily supply. up at 0.88. So we could see a move up to there and react off of that supply, but I'm not really counting on that right now. I personally think with that daily supply zone in control, I personally think looking for shorts is going to be the best bet. Now there's really two options here. Just like I said on the USDJPY, we have that very obvious 1 hour zone right here at 0.867. If we break this 1 hour zone and hopefully this downward trend line as well, leaving us with a 1 hour supply zone, that would be our confirmation entry right there. That's what you could be looking for here on the 1 hour chart. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, you could be on this 4 hour time frame here. We have a 4 hour demand zone that is currently in control right now. If we break this 4 hour zone right there, any 4 hour supplies and above will be our 4 hour confirmation. So again, you could be, since the daily supply is in control, looking for confirmation on an H1 or an H4 are both viable options. Looking for confirmation on the H1 is the more aggressive. Confirmation on this time frame, the H4, is just a little bit more conservative. However you like to trade, if you want to get more aggressive with it, go on the 1 hour chart. If you want to be more conservative, wait for a nice 4 hour supply zone to take this out, and then we could be looking for shorts on the USD Swiss, and that's really about it. You know, again, on the lower time frames, the 4 hour and the 1 hour chart, it could look like it's bullish, right? But on the weekly chart, we just broke a weekly zone, and on the daily chart, we have a daily downtrend and a daily supply and control. So that's why it's always important to look at the higher time frame analysis. To me, it's screaming that we should be looking for shorts, but again, we just need to really start to see the confirmation, which is really reliable in my opinion. So that's all I'm waiting for here on the USDCHF, waiting for that 1 hour or the 4 hour confirmation to come off of and then trade off that daily supply on the USD Swiss to continue to trade with the daily downtrend. This is a great, basically a great swing trading entry, right? Where we could easily see a move down to 0.845, get a beautiful, massive move off of that daily zone and turn even a day trade into a potential swing trade. Last but not least, we are on to crude oil. Looking at the weekly chart, we have absolutely nothing to go off of right now. All I know is we are in the middle of demand and supply. So we cannot really use this weekly chart to really base anything off of. However, we are into a 3-month area of demand. You can see right here my 3-month proximal and distal line. So we do have a macro demand zone in control. However, on the daily chart, it's a lot of sideways action, right? The overall trend is down, but it's tricky. What we could be doing is we have a daily demand zone that's in control right now. We could easily see a move up to daily supply from this daily zone. So you could be looking for longs right now. It is definitely a tricky time. What I would be doing is basically just completely focusing on this 1 hour time frame. And why? Well, because we have a beautiful 1 hour downtrend right now. So since the daily demand's in control and the macro demand is also in control, I think longs are technically favored. It's kind of a touchy subject. I'm not going to get into too much detail. It is technically favored. However, if you want to be looking for shorts with this 1 hour downtrend on a 5-minute time frame only, that would be also fine. So if you like to trade the 5-minute time frame and even the 1-minute time frame, actually, as long as this downward trend line is holding, I think looking for shorts off of that with this 1 hour downtrend, I think it's completely fine. However, if we break up to the upside, get a move where we break the downward trend line, leaving us with a 1 hour zone there, I think it's a great confirmation entry. As like I said, we do have that overall daily zone in control. So we in theory want to be looking for some sort of confirmation entry to the upside. And that would basically be this overall move where we break that 1 hour downtrend. So it is tricky right now, but I do like this 1 hour downward trend line. I think it's fantastic. So again, day traders, you're in luck. Even if we push up to here and we see the trend line being respected, I would continue to look for shorts. I think it's definitely fine on the 5-minute, 1-minute time frame. But again, if we break that downward trend line, that's a pretty bullish move. If we can even push up here, break the downward trend line and this proven supply zone, that would be even better, and that would be an even better confirmation. Let's say we push up, we break the trend line, but there's no demand here at all. That's fine. If we break this supply zone and there's demand here, that could also be used for longs. If we break that supply zone at 78.99. So overall bullish long term, but I think it's possible we see this downtrend continued. That's why I would just be hyper focused on this 1 hour chart, keeping in mind that we do have a daily zone in control. Then we could see a move to the upside, but again, I'd be hyper focused on the 1 hour time frame and see what happens with that downward trend line. If you guys want to watch the full-length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.